परफेक्ट डिसीजन मेकिंग और बिजनेस ग्रोथ के लिए हम आपके साथ कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर आपकी स्वप्न पूर्ति करते हैं। स्त्रोत कंसल्टेक, सिनर्जाइजिंग ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन।
Hi, this is Shirish Kulkarni, founder and CEO of STROTA Consulting, which is a business consulting venture. For last 6 years, we have been helping small and medium businesses for their stabilization and growth. And for more than 1.5 years, we have spoken to different individuals, around 125 in this initiative called as HATKE, which actually means differentiated, unique, out of the box. And it's a great pleasure to have individual like Shilpa Kulshresth with us. Shilpa, great to have you on this forum.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for the invite, Shirish.
Great. Just to cite different achievements that you have, a career of 16 years of the order of corporates like Satyam, Deloitte, and then eventually changing over to your individual venture to really help. And there is a mention about this murdering mediocrity, which actually definitely attracted me. So we will talk more on that. Being a woman entrepreneur of 2020, 2021, Indian achiever, high ticket achiever. I think this is definitely a marvelous journey that you had, Shilpa, and we would definitely like to hear more about your insights about as we set our focus on the future after we are seeing that second wave now slowly tapering down. So coming back to this murdering mediocrity and your career path, maybe you can throw some light, Shilpa.
Sure, Srish. So murdering mediocrity, that's the mission that I have chosen. And there's a reason why I've chosen it. Most of us, when we, and you talked about 16 years in corporate that I spent. When I started my career, Srish, it was like, you've seen those people who are from the campus when you're picked up and you start your first job, you've got this huge fire in the belly. You want to make exceptional career. You feel that you've got the world. You know, your job is the most precious thing. And you start with that, with all those, all that excitement in your mind, and you start doing the wonders. So that's how I started as in my early 20s, I started my career. And it all went well for a while. And I was a national level ranker. I was a gold medalist, had some achievements to my name. And people used to call me as someone with a Midas touch. Did my magic. It was great. It was an awesome feeling. And as years passed by, and it happens a lot more with women, less with men, but I'm sure men will also be able to relate to it, that when the challenges of life start showing up, when other priorities show up, you get married, you have kids, and then you've got so many other things that you have to deal with, somewhere work starts taking a lower priority, which is what happened with me. And in that chaos state, or in that state of mind where you have to manage conflicting priorities, I somewhere started keeping my work at the backseat.
Mm-hmm.
And started choosing family, which happens with a lot of women. We
right.
have to choose between family and career. I started choosing family, and my career started suffering. And I don't know, Srish, where in the process, in those 16 years, and I think it happened after 10 years, I started slipping into something which is called an average game. I don't know how it happened, when it happened, but when I got up, when I got the wake-up call, it was at a time when I was running this huge initiative, leading 5 vendor companies for Westpac, rolling out this target operating model. And suddenly one day I was told that my position has become redundant. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize I was under this illusion that I was still that person with a Midas touch. I was still that girl with the fire in the belly. But something happened, something I didn't do right. And it was at that point of time that I decided that I'll quit my corporate career and I'll spend some time with myself, because till that point, it has been just, life has been on a rock and roll, projects after projects, clients after clients. So I took a step back, landed up at Tony Robbins' island in Fiji, and spent some time with myself, connecting with myself. Who am I? What is it that I really want? What is my identity? Am I happy with my identity? What kind of identity would I like to create? And over the next few months, I traveled to different parts of the world, learned from the best coaches, the best strategy gurus. And I started seeing glimpses of myself, which I had never met before. And I fell in love with those glimpses of me, that powerful Shilpa. And when I saw that, I realized that if I can do that, anybody else can. And I started noticing so many people around me who are living this life of mediocrity. And the worst thing is people don't realize that they are mediocre. I didn't know that until I got that slap in my face with regard to that redundancy, right?
Mm.
So I started working with the people to help them identify it and then to step out of it into an exceptional zone. So that, that explains my mission and why I'm so passionate about it.
Wow. I think that's definitely encouraging and insightful, where individual have to realize what potential he or she has. Check on what value I am adding to the organization I am attached with, the business that I am attached with, and whether that is the value that they are seeing in me or not. And that kind of a check is important, where if at all you see that one balance is going up and the second is coming down, definitely it's a sign where either you have to move on or you have to make some changes that you are fitting in the pyramid. I believe that's the message, and pretty insightful, Shilpa.
Thank you. And Srish, you did talk about balance, and I just wanted to touch upon it. All our life, like, this work-life balance, we keep sitting on that balance. And you think, imagine it like a seesaw, how difficult it is to sit and try to balance it. Just what I realized, that if you just let it go, let it touch the lows as well as the highs, it's a very different feeling, right? And by just trying to balance it hard, we are depriving us of the high and the low moments. And it feels in the end that, we have not lived life. So it is all about experiences, those highs and lows, and enjoying the rhythm of it.
That's amazing. And I was just reading some statistics about 81% of the professionals want to leave their jobs. And there is also one kind of a statistics which is out, and I definitely want to put it out as maybe controversial, but around 30% of the job that we take, any job that we take, could get maximum of 30% of satisfaction, however aligned that it is for the individual, as far as type of discipline, role, level, and whatnot is concerned. So do you think that is the kind of a reality, and we have to do that reality check also in the job as well as in the business, because business gets more and more challenging, and ambiguities are larger. So do you think that individuals, as you are interacting with so many, you have worked with 12 countries and maybe touched upon 250 to 300 individuals. So do you find that kind of a thing which actually is a reality that everybody has to kind of know?
Absolutely. So 30%, what you mentioned, I can tell you, if you just give your 30% in the jobs, you will survive. There's no survival question, but the question is whether you want to survive or thrive. And if you want to move from that survival stage or the mediocre stage or the average game to an exceptional game or an extraordinary career, whether it is in job, whether it is in business, then you need to move from that minimum 30% to that remaining 70%, which is fed by your environment, by the people around you, by your proximity, by doing something which is different from the ordinary. And it sounds really, it sounds really quite interesting that you're creating something extraordinary, but behind the scenes, I would say it is only the ordinary things. If you do consistently, you create extraordinary results. So that 70%, to break into that, it's not difficult, but you can very well hang on to that 30% and you can survive till the date of retirement, but as a mediocre. It is for people to find that out, to identify it and see whether they want to break out of it.
Wonderful, wonderful. And, this transition must have happened in the middle life where everybody faces this challenge that, one realizes out of the experience that, I am a little bit more, I would call with caution that more qualified, more capable, having more potential than others, maybe at the senior level. And we need to do some kind of a balancing, either be part of the pyramid or jump out. So do you get this kind of individuals having these challenges as you come across?
Yes, and there are few indicators about it. You touched upon it very rightly. Like either your work becomes boring, it becomes mundane, monotonous, it becomes too simple, or you're putting in a lot of hours into it, but the results that you're getting, the reward that you're getting is not proportionate to the what efforts you're putting in. So all these indicators, or your life is too busy. I see a lot of people, and I work with the people at the senior leadership CXO level. Your work has become so busy that you just don't have time to think where you are taking it. There's no destination in your GPS, basically. So these are the indicators where you start thinking, you need to actually take a break. And that's why vacations are great, even 1-2 days when, things get too busy, take some time off and
take a break.
Yeah, think about it. Where are you taking it? Are you happy with how things have been moving for you? Or do you want to do something different? Something different doesn't mean that it has to be always away from what you have been doing, but in the current space only. Do you want to do something different? Or have you seen glimpses of you moving into a path which is totally different? Both ways it is possible. Career transitions, I enable a lot of career transitions, and none of them is difficult, but there's a strategy behind it, right? So the first step is, what is my potential? Am I working at my potential? And second is, what the hell is this potential? Like, how do I find it? That's another question.
That's wonderful. I think it's definitely, provoking as we hit on these questions. And as you rightly suggested, if we take a break from the routine and mundane operational activities that we get sucked into, where our mind gets just busy on doing repetitive things and not to think about the larger picture. And I think that is the right way. But do you think that, either the opportunity chooses us or we choose the opportunity? How does that work? And in maybe the career and business also?
Well, I'm more for the second part. So sometimes opportunity chooses us, but we cannot wait for that time, I would say. In my case, circumstances were such, I became redundant, and circumstances pushed me towards an opportunity, which became the best part of my life. This was the best thing, because I never slept as well as I sleep since the last 2-3 years, right? So it is sometimes that opportunities choose us, but I would say, why wait for an opportunity? Create that opportunity, and it is an attitude that we develop. Even you never face a brick wall. And if you face a brick wall, you create doors in that, create those doors of opportunities, and they'll swing open to, yesterday I had put a post, and this is the word which I use, to truckloads of opportunities. So create opportunities, and opportunities are all around us, Sirish. This is what I have noticed. Earlier, I was seeing it, or my clients were not seeing it. But when they get into a mode where they are in the power zone, anything and everything is possible, they start seeing opportunities. And that's why they start getting promotions, they start getting jobs, they start making career transitions, flawlessly.
I think that's really insightful, where you challenge the status quo of yourself and find out better about what you are meant for. As you rightly said, challenges are everywhere. You be in the same state, or you decide to move on, where there are likely to be better rewards and results for you. To come out of the comfort zone, I believe that is the key you're trying to point out. Do you think that in the current state, where you are hitting pandemic and there is a lull, that we need to actually work on our mind more than operations or business, where there are, as you said, brick walls, but there are hidden keys or opportunities that unless you touch it, unless you hit upon it, you will not know. So have you found this kind of a scenario as we are talking about the pandemic situation?
Absolutely. It's all there in the mind, Sirish. All there in the mind. So people come to me and they say, okay, can you help me in getting a job? And I say, I don't help in finding a job. What I help is for you to get into your power zone. Whatever results you want to create, I can promise they will come to you. You'll become a magnet for it. That I can tell you. And that's what happens. And all I do is the same thing, whether they want to open up a business, whether they want to become a coach, whether they want to get promoted, if they are stuck, or they want to figure out clarity in their life. It's the same thing, working at the roots. A lot of times what happens is we keep looking at those bigger mountains, this is not working. If only I can get that right. But the oiling has to be done at the base. It's the right 2 mm shift that a coach can do that can make all the difference to your career, to your business, to your life, everywhere.
Superb. I think that's really amazing. I just had this question of, you being professionally qualified as a CA, CS, MBA, having a great career path. And how did you choose Australia, or how Australia chose you, and you are getting into a completely different track of life? So maybe certain things on that you can highlight.
Sure. So regarding my education, yes, I was an education junkie at one point, coming from a professor's family. My dad was a professor. My mom was a principal at a school. So this is what you can expect. Very, very passionate about education. It was fed into our minds. If only you can be educated, there's a successful life ahead of you, which I realized later on was not true. But at that point, I didn't know better. Or you can say, I mean, we all learn in life. So went on this education spree. That's where all my, you can say all my degrees, all my certifications are coming from. Coming to Australia, I think this is what happened when my husband got an opportunity to move to start cognizant operations in Australia, and it was a great opportunity. So we all moved, and again, that's where I would like to highlight, like being a woman, though, I love my husband, I love my family, but then again, you have to sacrifice where you are at. And I think I was at a great point in my career working with Tech Mahindra at that point of time. It was going exceptionally well. I was loving it, but moved. And I moved voluntarily. It's not like anybody forced me. I moved because one thing was sure, like it was a set standard between me and my husband that we'll never stay separate from each other for jobs. So I moved, but then I had to start it all over again. This happens a lot with women where, over the years, our career gets, left behind. And we just work for the sake of working, or, getting out of the home, and not even those pennies matter. Not that I was not earning enough. I was earning quite a good paycheck, but
Right.
It was more about a routine job that you go to and come back every day.
Fantastic. I think it's a great move, and I see the kind of energy that you have, the kind of positivity that you have, that reflects the way that you are absolutely aligned to whatever that you are bringing on the table, and it is actually giving you back. Now moving on, as we see that we are becoming more and more connected across the world, digital is impacting. There's a huge amount of digital drive, as we see. So do you think even the way that you interact, the way that you mentor individuals, digital is becoming a major part of your thought process as we embrace the future aspect moving forward?
Absolutely. And I think this is one of the best things that have happened. It came more with the pandemic, but I work for people across 12 countries. And if digital was not there, I'm not sure how I would have contributed to those people, to my clients over there. One thing I can say is that before the pandemic hit, I used to meet my clients locally here in Sydney, face to face, for our interactions, for our catch ups. And, that's how our coaching sessions used to happen. But after the pandemic, I mean, once it started, everything became digital because nobody was meeting. There was lockdowns and all those kind of things. And that was the best thing, because I saved on my travel time. They saved on the travel time, and the impact was the same. It just required us to shift our way of working. Also, digital, what it has given rise to is the repetitiveness. You can put the same thing over and over again. Like you can reuse the things, which is great. If we are recording this, interview between us, and it goes on social media, and then somebody sees it, and then, you don't know the chain that it gets created. So I see that repetitiveness has increased, and, it has given access to a side of the world that, we would have never leveraged. Yes, I do miss the physical events, especially the speaking events, but I think it's part of the game. And, we will get back to it. But digital has opened up a whole new world of opportunities. I know my friends who are working in finance and all, where they couldn't even dream of working from home. They're working from home. Everything has worked. It has told companies that there are certain things, the rules which were in place, some of them were baseless. We were just sticking to those rules as a matter of habit.
I think that's marvelous, where we see that digital is evolving, and even though in this kind of profiles or roles that we see, personal connect is the key to success, mainly as for in-person interaction. But if you are able to get that closeness even by digital means, I think it serves around 80% of your job, and 10 to 20% can wait later till we open up. That's amazing. And if it is giving us access to the globe and global opportunities and global market, and we able to serve those individuals who are definitely in the need, that's really wonderful, right?
Yeah, I mean, nothing can make up for that personal touch that I can
Yeah.
say. It would be great, like if we were in the same city, talking to each other face to face. It's nothing like that. But then we've got something else which is making up for it.
That's good. I think I was wondering, whenever I have interacted with you, that you bring in positive energy, that positivity, that the drive that I'm seeing. So, is there any role model, something that you maybe drink differently, that energizes you every morning?
Yeah, I think one of the persons whom I hugely respect, and the person who started my journey, Tony Robbins. Obviously he's not my direct coach. I don't think I can afford him even, but he's he's the coach for the celebrities and all. But he's one person who drives me every single day. I start my day with listening to his breakthrough app, his programs. I've done it. My family, including my daughters, everybody has done all his programs, and we keep repeating it. And I think he keeps us on the right path. Hugely respect him for whatever value he has added in my life and in the life of my family. And the second thing is my husband. My husband, he's, I don't know if you know him, if you've seen him on social media, but he's this ball of energy with this electrifying presence, and he's, jumping around all the time in the house. So that house positive as well. So, that is what happens around me, and the environment feeds into your outlook.
I think that's great. Where the positivity is definitely contagious. More you give, 100 times that you give, at least 1% is definitely absorbed, and people start experiencing it as they interact, and that's a good sign. Now, talking about this HATKE, HATKE, as an initiative, would definitely like to hear your perspective, how it is applicable for the leadership, the corporates, because it is definitely health, attitude, technology, knowledge, and engagement, which are key pillars. So anything that you have as a perspective that you want to share?
I think it's an absolute fantastic amalgamation of the various areas of life. And it so much gels with my philosophy. I call it the triangle of life. And it is about achievements, it is about health, it is about relationships, which is like some of the things that you mentioned about HATKE. I think it's different way of looking at the same things. And if we can really concentrate on that whole triangle, or the whole amalgamation that HATKE concentrates on, I think we can get the best out of an individual, not only at the leadership level, but at whatever level the individual or a company or a business is, if we can concentrate on all the aspects. The problem is that we have been living our life in a linear pattern. First it is about career, then it is about relationships, then it is about health. And anytime we start working on something, we work on it only when we have burnt it enough, right? So HATKE is an amalgamation of concentrating on all the elements that is required for success of an individual, of a company, of a business, leadership, whatever you call it. That's how I see it.
Wonderful. I think you nicely brought it up as your own perspective of a triangle. That's really good. And it definitely helps, whenever we are able to get that perspective across to the individual who is needing it. I think that makes it the best. Now, I was, always wondering about the way that, we meet different personalities. And this is a little bit of a twisted question. But we find so many people so difficult to work with. They are not ready. And there could be many, they are just saying that, okay, I have been doing this for 30 years. I'll continue doing it. You change it. The environment should change, blah, blah, blah. So do you find this kind of individuals out there?
Yes, day in and day out, I would say. So I'll take this 30 years experience, what you talked about. I'll talk about one of my clients. He was a CFO in a company, and I was speaking at a forum, and that's where I met him. He came to me after my talk, and he said that I've been working on these reports, these numbers all my life. And I feel that somewhere I've lost myself. I feel that even though I've worked for different countries, different companies, and with different people, I am the same person sitting at a different desk each year. So I want to really explore what is it more that I can do. And I think my heart is not in what I do. I've been doing it for 30 years. And then we started working. And then I realized that, it is very difficult to change our style after a certain experience that we have. He was a CFO. Obviously, there's a certain way in which you deal with things. There's a certain way of looking. There are certain patterns with which we have been living our life, and it's not easy after such a long experience, 3 decades of experience, and when you are almost in your 50s, early 50s, to change the way of looking. So one thing that I faced with him was, it was very difficult for him to, I asked him, you start expressing yourself. And he was like, and he would just make it so much, if I put it in a crude way, it would come out to be so boring. And I would say, okay, you put a story around it. And I'll give him the example of, okay, this clock, just think about, all those things. And how our mind shuts down, Sirish. This is what I saw when we are working just on one area and you're not allowing yourself the freedom to develop or to express yourself, and you're keeping everything inside, how it shuts down. And we feel that it happens with the people at the, initial levels only. But this was a CFO, right? At that level, it can happen. It was a whole journey to help him get to that expression, which was his own. And I had to literally feed into him that you don't need to be anybody else. You are just who you are. And, you just have to bring your authenticity, how you really feel, how you really think. You just need to bring it out. And I think over a period of, I think 3 to 4 months, I can't stop boasting about how he used to write or express himself. He became so good at it, but it was a whole journey. So it happens, it is not easy to break the patterns, because that's what we are comfortable with. Now, none of us are born with any patterns. How Sirish was born, that was same how Shilpa was born, or anybody else who was born. We were born as children without any patterns. But because of our experiences along the journey, what happened with us, what happened in our environment, what stories we have been telling ourselves, we start acting in a certain way, and we say, don't mess with me. This is who I am, but that is not who you are. So it's about breaking those patterns and getting to the real you, which is where the work becomes easy.
I think it is really interesting and must be really satisfying when you see that, that person is at the tipping point where he or she, starts looking at different perspective about individual, himself or herself, and that transformation happens. I think it must be really satisfying, right? Looking back.
It's satisfying. It is what keeps me going. Those little messages that I see, the little messages, tiny messages from their family. And it's not one person does it. Like, I've had clients who the person did it, then his wife did it, then his wife's sister did it, then his brother did it in some other country. So it's like, you start that change where you start changing the world around you, because you see that if you change your environment, everything shifts, and that extraordinary future comes.
I think it's great. It's really, really insightful. The way that you are expressing yourself, and you are able to do what you want, and you are mattering to the world to really influence it. It is great to have you, Shilpa, on this platform. As we close this discussion, any kind of message that you want to give for individuals who are in a little bit lull in their mind, shake them up or think so that they can think positively?
Absolutely. So I'll pick up something from what we just discussed. Any stage that you are in, if things are not working the way you expect them to work, know that, you don't need to have a certain minimum basis for you to get entry into that 70% of the extraordinary world. Whether you are doing well, whether you're not doing well, whether you are at the top of your game, whether you are at the bottom of your game, there's always a step up, and you can start. All it needs is your intention and your decision to step out. And the rest, don't worry about the hows, it can be figured out. Just get why do you want to do it? And if you want to do it, nobody can stop you. So that's the message that I want to leave the audience.
I think it's a great message to have for any individual to think openly of who am I, what am I supposed to do, and cling on to that, hold on to that what I am here for. It's been great having you on this platform, Shilpa. Great. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Rish. My absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Wonderful. And, all of our best wishes are there for your path that you've chosen. Let it go to all the countries that you are looking at. Let it grow exponentially. Also, with Kapil, the Play It Full initiative might multiply to, whatever the ways that you want to see. All the best and best wishes from us. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Rish. Thanks.
बिजनेस कोई भी हो, सक्सेस की नींव हम रखते हैं।
बुलंदियों को छूने की आपके अरमानों की उम्मीद जगाती जोत है, हर सपनों का हम स्रोत है।
सही स्ट्रेटेजी, परफेक्ट डिसीजन मेकिंग और बिजनेस ग्रोथ के लिए हम आपके साथ कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर आपकी स्वप्न पूर्ति करते हैं। स्त्रोत कंसल्टेक, सिनर्जाइजिंग ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन।